God is coming to the camp. And they said, Woe unto us, for there has not been such a thing heretofore. Woe unto us, who shall deliver us out of the hand of these mighty gods? These are the gods that smote the Egyptians with all the plagues in the wilderness. So the stories about the Israelites have been carried on from generation for generation after generation. They understood the principle behind the nation of Israel. What the Philistines didn't know was that the nation of Israel had stepped back from God. What this nation doesn't know, that it has stepped back from God because it has rejected the knowledge and the wisdom of God that brings the protection and the blessings. We will never see a World War II again with the victory in this country. We are watching today with this massive nation that we are, going continually losing men month after month, day after day in Iraq, draining its resources, struggling for this fight. And we said that, and I said it from the day they went in. It was a battle that needed to be fought that could never be won. It can never be won. They have been fighting each other for thousands of years over there, and it's not going to stop till Jesus Christ returns. And here in our infinite wisdom, this country grabs this little box, goes over there and says, hey, we are this great nation of God. By the way, let's take of God off our money, out of our schools, off our buildings. Let's not talk about God, except when we need Him to go into this battle with us. And He's going to bring us this great victory. And you're wondering, the billions of dollars that we lose every month, that we're going to walk away just like we did in Vietnam with our tail tucked between our legs because we can't win and we're running out of money. And that's what's going to happen. And it'll happen probably right after the next election. So now it goes on. It says, be strong, and it's right after the second woe about this wilderness and the plagues in Egypt. Verse 9, be strong, acquit yourselves like men, O Philistines. There was one person in the Philistines who said, don't let it bother you. Go after them anyway, that you be not servants unto the Hebrews, as they have been with you. Acquit yourselves like men and fight. And the Philistines fought, and Israel was smitten. And every man went to his tent, and there was a great slaughter, for there fell of Israel 30,000 footmen. They thought they could simply go grab God in a box, bring Him over, put Him in front, and God was going to fight the battle. Brethren, if we think that this nation is going to change, that our youth are going to be protected, and they're going to learn simply by putting God in a box, we've got another thing coming. We've got to stand before God and repent as a nation, individually, as homes, and be able to walk forth just upright before God for Him to be able to come back into our camp. And if we don't, we will find ourselves in the time of Hosea, that He will forsake our children. In verse 11, and the ark of God was taken. God let the Philistines take the ark of God. They went and got Him. They brought Him there in the box, thinking that's where God lived. Philistines had no respect, and because they had stepped away from God's protection, the Philistines now takes the ark of God and moves it to their camp. That was a gasp in the ears of everybody in Israel, that the Philistines now have the ark of God. They knew they were done for. They knew they had been abandoned, and it was too late. No amount of sacrifice changed what just happened. It's an interesting story. I wanted to share that today. Just a couple more things I want to talk about before I close. It's found in Ezekiel 33. I think if you've been in the church for any length of time, you probably know that story. Ezekiel chapter 33, about the watchman. Verse 1, again the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, speak unto your people, and say unto them, that when I bring the sword upon the land, if the people of the land take a man in their borders and set him up as a watchman, if he, when he sees the sword come upon the land, he blows the trumpets and warns the people, then whosoever hears the sound of the trumpet and takes not warning, if the sword come and takes him his way, his blood will be upon his own head. If we don't warn at least our own families, If not whoever else, God gives us power to warn. He goes on to say, let's go through to the next two verses. And when he hears the sound of the trumpet, he takes not warning, his blood shall be upon him. But he that takes warning shall deliver his soul. But if the watchman see the sword come, and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned. In other words, if we see what's going on, and we see our nation and our youth and our children, our parents, our brothers and our sisters, we see things that are going to bring about destruction upon them. If we don't tell them something, God says he will hold us accountable. There's no excuse if we don't. If you know there's the person who's about to step off a ledge is going to fall to his death, don't you try to grab him? But you see, for some reason, that's not popular. It's not going to be the popular thing to say, listen, homosexuality is wrong. It's evil. It's going to bring about destruction. It's going to wreck lives that you have not even imagined yet. It's hard to tell the youth that this way of life is going to hurt you. It doesn't help. It doesn't profit anything. It doesn't build. It doesn't grow. It doesn't make you the strong person that you could be. Give you a happy, wholesome life. It breaks the commandments when God says that honor your father and your mother, that your days on this earth may be long. Ephesians 6:1 says that's with the promise that if you obey your parents, that you'll bring a long life. The happiness and the wholesomeness of a family structure that's... I watch some families today and I say, wow, it's incredible. How do you have such a wholesomeness in the family? Spending time with one another and compassion and love and trying to do what's right. The family unit has been destroyed for a long, long time. He goes on to say, if the sword come and take any person among them, he is taken in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hands. It's quite an indictment if we're not careful. The church used to say that was one person's job. It's not. It's everyone's job who knows the truth. He who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is a sin. It's a work that God's given to his church. Each one of us have a job individually within our own family units and our family structures. I'm going to go just a couple quick scriptures in the New Testament and then I'll close. Ephesians chapter 2. Ephesians chapter 2. And beginning in verse 2. It says, in which in times past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, that spirit, or the spirit that now works in the sons of disobedience. If anyone walks contrary to God's laws, they are walking in the spirit of disobedience. It says, among whom also we had all manner of life in times past, the lust of our flesh, fulfilling our desires with the flesh of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. I don't know anyone in this room who can say that they lived the perfect life. I know I can't. I look back at my life and say, man, I wish it would have been different. I look at my youth and I say, man, I hate my youth. I wish it would have been different. It was tough growing up in the areas we grew up in. It was tough because there was no wholesomeness about it. There was no happiness to it. It was filled with rotten, filth, and evil. And I'd like to see my children grow up in a better time and in a better way and not have to go through what we've seen. And you know, those neighborhoods now, I drive down there, they're worse now than they were when I grew up, down in the 9th Ward, in the lower 9th Ward. I go park my van when I'm doing carpet cleaning, I see people, you got to watch out there to see if they're not going to come and try to rob you for a few bucks just so they can get some more crack. And the women that's on the street and the way they dress, just trying to pull people over. It's just unbelievable what's going on out there. And it's portrayed as a great thing in TV. It's amazing when you see all that. And it's hard on the children because, you know, I think a lot of them want to do right. I honestly believe that. I think the goodness is in their heart and they try to. And this world just sucks the life right out of them. And it's hard to go along to do what God says. You know, when they need all the help they can get from us. All the help, the encouragement, and the love that we can possibly give. And if we don't, God's going to hold us accountable. In verse 5 and verse 4 says, but when God, who is rich in mercy for his great love, which he loved us, even when we were dead in sins, has made us alive together with Christ by grace that we're saved, has raised us up together and made us to sit together in heavenly places with Jesus Christ. That is the goal and the opportunity that we need to bring into this world. This world won't understand it, and yet it's got to be there. Because one day God's going to open their minds. And He's going to give them the opportunity that you and I have today. We as a work cannot blow it. We need to work as hard as we've ever worked. We need to do it individually, we need to do it as families, and we needed to do it as a church. This is the second sermon in this nature that I've given. I want to do one more. There's one more subject that I want to cover. These subjects are important. I don't like to do them all the time, but from time to time they need to be said. And now with what's been going on, I think they need to be said. When I seen those 18 young girls throw away their lives, I was speechless. I hope you felt the same way. See, they don't understand what they did. They think they do. They got a pretty good feel of what they did, but they actually have no clue of what just took place. When you figure that many of them can come together, and not one of them out of 18 said, wait a minute, this is wrong. Maybe there were others who said, no, I'll not be a part of that pact. Maybe they walked away. I don't know. But if this can go on in our own country, what's next? Maybe we can make a difference. We at least need to try.